charter members of this club, the other one being our esteemed presiding officer today, Michael Phillips. He says his talk is prompted by a recent article in the Tulsa World by Harvey Mackay. In the article, Mackay writes about how our work habits could be compared to the way some animals act. Our speaker has taken these ideas and attempted to relate them to the way we prepare our speeches. He says it's probably a stretch, but he calls this speech informative. The title is Learn from the Animals. Let's welcome Ralph Parker.
You're probably thinking, how in the world can we learn anything from animals that would have anything to do with our public speaking? Mr. Toastmaster, members, this article by Harvey Mackay, as was stated in my introduction, he talked about animals and the way they act might apply to our work situation. First, one of the animals he talked about was the African impala, or impala, ever how you want to pronounce that. I'm not familiar with that animal. You know, it's the one that General Motors named their big Chevrolet after, the impala. He says that thing can jump 10 feet in a span of 30 feet, if you can believe. Beautiful animal, very graceful. Put it in a zoo with a 4-foot wall, and it won't get out. Because if it can't see where his feet's going to land, it ain't going to jump. And he said, a lot of us at work are in this pen, and we're not going to think about doing any better because we're a little unknown as to how we would make out. And I thought, do I prepare my speeches that way? Am I a little uneasy about working up something that I don't feel comfortable with? I'm not an Ed Cumming, so I have to stay in this box. And then take another one that they talked about is the barnacle. A barnacle is a small little low-life shellfish that lives in salt water. That little old thing will go up and attach its head on to a rock, a piling at a dock, ship, small boat. Wherever he hits, he just sticks. And he stays there for life. Feeds a little bit with his little old hairy legs, but other bigger fish will feed off the barnacles. Now that's not a very exciting life. Thinking about where I worked, it wasn't too exciting either. I said, was I a barnacle? Maybe so. But maybe again, when I'm preparing my speech, am I a barnacle? I pretty well stick to whatever subject that I feel comfortable with. I don't grow much. Do you ever wonder how a little stake in the ground with a chain can restrain a 4-ton elephant? That rascal, when they have to teach that thing to stay with his trainer, they tie a big, strong rope around a bamboo tree to his leg, and he fights it for a few days. But finally, he says, I can't get loose. He will stay with his trainer with a little stick in the ground, a small chain around his leg. he's just got a mindset that he can't do anything about it. I know some of us do that work. But again, I thought, well, I don't jerk very hard to try to get loose and do something different. I've got to just write a little speech that everybody can understand. That's all I do. Sometime in the early 30s, some zoologist came up with the fact that this little insect, due to the size of its body and the weight of its body and the area of its wingspan, could not possibly fly. But the bumblebee never had a course in aerodynamics, so it just flies. Does its own thing, goes around about its business, does whatever has to be done. And I said, I've seen people like that at work. They just do the job, whatever has to be done. Boss says do this, oh, okay, he does it. Ideas are born, and that's great. Do I operate that way in the Toastmaster Club? I'm afraid I'd be at the back of the class. And I don't know why I can't get a mindset like that. Oscar Kerzner, you can give him an off-the-wall topic question like Ed gave him tonight. Rascal will stand up and give you a 2-minute speech. I say, how does he do that? I can't do that. Regardless of what Barbara Rogers said, I was impressed with the way he gave that talk. He always impressed me, and I thought about it. And I think the reason he can do that is when different people tell him that he's not that smart, he don't pay any attention. He just does his thing. So we never know. It would be good to be like a duck. You look at a duck out on a smooth lake, looks like he's just sitting there. He's moving, you don't know what's making him. But if you look underneath at those feet, they're getting with it, and he's creating about a 40-degree wake that'll expand to about 600 times the width of his body. Now that leaves a mark. Do you ever wonder how big a ripple we're going to leave in the Toastmaster organization? I hope nobody asks me that question. But maybe we could learn from the animals. Mr.